Welcome to Stephen King Saturday. All right, Tommyknockers knocking at your door. Don't answer, because it's shitty. Okay. This is a 3-hour long Are You Afraid of the Dark episode with adult content.
Yeah, pretty much.
And I love Are You Afraid of the Dark, so that could seem like a compliment. But it's like all the bad things about Are You Afraid of the Dark?
Yeah.
The concept is fine. And of course it's very reminiscent of Stephen King.
Very.
Right? Small town, being taken over. People who are good go bad.
She's an alcoholic writer.
Alcoholic writer.
Yeah.
Sure. So the Stephen King tropes are here. But man, this one really has this like goofy. It actually, the film that it reminds me a good amount of is Maximum Overdrive. Right? With the machines that are coming to life. And kind of the silliness of it. But it feels very cartoony, kiddish, and that's not a good thing, because I think the why it works in Are You Afraid of the Dark or Goosebumps or Eerie, Indiana, or any of these like kids horror shows is that it fully embraces what it is.
Yeah.
And this tries to have like an Are You Afraid of the Dark tone while having like infidelity.
Yeah.
And like adult themes. And to do an Are You Afraid of the Dark style with adult themes just doesn't work, because the Are You Afraid of the Dark style is for children's content. Yeah. Right? So that's why it just doesn't work. So anyways, let's get into the Tommyknockers. You can't run, you can't hide, you can only become ... one of them. Ellipses. So this is 3 hours long.
It's a long
as
one.
most of these miniseries were. This is made for TV. Watching it, you couldn't tell at all.
Not at all.
Not at all. This is definitely one of the Stephen King miniseries from the 90s that I am not a fan of. It had been a little while since I'd seen this, so I'd remembered some of it. Mostly what I had remembered was like the ship in the ground, them digging it up, Jimmy Smits, or Bail Organa as I know him, being the one who isn't affected, and is trying to stop them. That was my memory of it, and that's pretty much most of what's worth remembering.
My big memory was the magic show at the birthday party.
Okay.
That's like the big thing that I remember from it.
Yeah.
But I'm definitely not a huge fan of this one.
Had you seen this before?
Yes.
Okay.
This is one that I had watched on TV, probably on the Sci-Fi Channel.
Okay. Okay, so we get E.G. Marshall in here, who returns to Stephen King after his They're Creeping Up on You episode or segment in Creepshow. So it's cool to see him back here. I do quite like him as an actor, whether it's this or Christmas Vacation or whatever. I do like him, and he's good in this. I mean, the problem in the film isn't the acting.
No.
I think the acting's all pretty good. I think that Jimmy Smits is good. I think that Marg, the girl from CSI, plays his wife, is good. Even, the porn actress, Tracy Lords, I think is good in this.
Yeah, she does a fine job.
It's just, it's the tone. It's the direction. It's the made-for-TV feel. Because, like, The Langoliers, while it's goofy, I don't know. The tone fits the subject matter for me in The Langoliers. And this just doesn't. We're dealing with alcoholism. we're dealing with, infidelity. We're dealing with all sorts of like really adult themes, and we're like playing it super silly.
Yeah.
And not silly in some kind of like a slapstick way, but just it has that like, are you afraid of the dark style to it.
Yeah.
And it just doesn't work. I'm not going to keep beating that dead horse there, but it just does not work.
I feel like the story could be really creepy. I think, like I was telling you, I think if somebody tried to remake this, like in modern day, I think that they could be made in a pretty like eerie and atmospheric way.
Sure.
It just isn't accomplished in the made-for-TV version.
Pardon the interruption, as usual. Okay, so is the start of the film, it's him at the party getting drunk?
Yeah.
Or is it...
It's like in the beginning of the film, yeah.
Because the first thing I have written down here is that they take kids on a field trip to a police station.
Yes, that's like the very first scene.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, this scene is ridiculous. So they literally bring children into a police station and then take them over to show them a criminal in a cell.
Yeah, they can bring him so close too.
They're like, here you go.
The criminal like reaches out.
It's ridiculous.
Oh my God.
It's
so
ridiculous.
funny.
It reminds me of the movie that we just watched. Did we even review that? Cat People? We still haven't reviewed that.
No, we haven't yet.
Completely forgot about that.
It is very much like Cat People. It's like the zoo.
Yeah.
It Cat People where there's like that much space in between
them and like a deadly
the people
animal.
and the animal.
But like, who brings children? Like, this isn't Scared Straight. These aren't like, kids that have, are showing signs of like, criminal behavior or going down a dark path.
Sure.
Right? These are just normal, regular kids. And when I say kids, I mean fucking kids.
Like,
We're
they're
talking
little.
like little kids.
Yes.
Like second, third grade.
Yeah.
And they're bringing them in to a police station and being like, and there's a prisoner. Like, what? And then we go from that weird little scene to a even weirder scene. And that is inside a police station, the sheriff of this station has this enormous doll collection.
It's huge.
I mean,
so
enormous.
big.
There's literally nothing in the room but dolls. This is such a weird addition to this police station because it's not like she has her desk and it's like a normal sheriff's office.
No.
That has like dolls up on some shelving or something.
It's
no.
just like a whole conference room that she's turned into her doll collection room.
Like, what police station, like what like, you get elected in towns like this, right? Mm-hmm. To be the constable or the sheriff or whatever, right? In the mayor and people oversee what's going on. There's no way that a cop is just going to take a whole room of the police department, taxpayers' money, and turn it into, like imagine me getting hired as the sheriff.
Yeah.
And I bring my film collection
Yeah.
and my horror collection, and I just take one room of the police department, and I just dedicate it to my collection.
It's supposed to be a quirky small town. Like, super quirky.
Where's her desk?
She doesn't have one.
It's not even an office.
No,
it's
like I said, it's like a
waiting
room.
area.
It's like a conference room that she's turned into.
It's like, sorry, you don't have anywhere to wait because the waiting area is now the doll collection. It's such like, why is this not at her house? Why is this at the police station? I would completely understand if it was like an office and she had a bunch of dolls in there. But this is just like an open room with windows and dolls, and that is it.
Yeah.
And they and it's like bench seating. Mm-hmm. So there's like 2 tiers or 3 tiers of bench seating that line each wall as they walk in. and it's just dolls on all of them. And that is all the room is.
Yeah.
So it's not even her office. It's just, so she probably has an office and then that. It's super bizarre. I just was like gawking at it while we were watching it. Like, I don't understand. Why is this not at your house?
I don't know.
Like, it's in the book, I'm assuming. I haven't read this book,
Yeah.
but like, she really keeps a doll collection like that at the precinct? Like, no way.
She does.
No fucking way.
She does.
One of the kids is terrified of the dolls.
Yeah.
And her response to that is, to this child who's terrified of dolls, don't worry, I'll bring you back later alone.
Yeah.
To show them to you.
Like, that's gonna make them feel better.
And this is before the Tommyknockers are a thing. She's not like possessed and evil and is trying to like do something to this kid. She's like her normal self at this point.
But she's also like, which one of you scared that poor little boy? Like, she talks to them afterwards.
Oh, sure. That's
like
a weird scene.
Alive or possessed?
Yeah, that's something
I
that's odd because I don't know if the Tommyknockers are affecting her at that point.
Yeah.
I don't think so because our, main chick here hasn't dug it up much.
No.
At this point.
I guess it's possible.
And I don't think anyone
town is being affected subtly in the beginning.
It's possible, I suppose.
Yeah.
But that is a really weird inclusion that I don't really understand. Like, because they don't really touch on it again. Like, they show the dolls kind of come to life, and I guess this is in her head. I mean, it is in her head. But, like, is it the Tommyknockers? Or isn't it? Is she, like, mentally unwell?
I think it's supposed to be the Tommyknockers.
Okay. But it just, it doesn't really come into play again in the film.
No.
And it's really before we're seeing that there's being effects on the town. But I guess this is the first showing of it. It's just every other Tommyknocker instance in this film is very much obviously connected to the Tommyknockers having effects on them.
Yeah. I mean, the only other time that it comes into play is when they, like, attack her.
Sure.
So.
But at that point, everyone's being affected by them.
Yes.
So, I don't know. That is odd. And yeah, I mean, I really like Tracy Lords as an actress. I'm glad that, she had a couple films, definitely a few films before this, not porn. Like Crybaby, I think, was one of her big breaks. John Waters, of course, gave her a break because he likes perverts and weirdos. And I think she's a good actress. I like her in these roles. I like her in Excision. I like her in Crybaby. I like her in all the films that I've seen her in. So, and I think she's really good here at what she's doing. So, I'm sure it's hard to try to break into acting after you're like the biggest porn star in the world at that time.
Sure. Yeah, I'm sure it's difficult.
So good for her because she broke away from porn and started doing movies, and she's never looked back, and she's done movies ever since. She has a couple starring role movies, but with this film, she's not like just thrown in here for some cute little side thing. Like,
no, she has like
she's a huge part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She definitely has a big part in this.
Yeah. So anyway, and yeah, this guy who's cheating on his wife in this.
Oh my god, he's awful.
You're just begging for him to die. Now, is he being affected by the Langoliers or not?
By the Langoliers.
The Langoliers, sorry, the
Yes,
Tommyknockers.
the
We
Langoliers
were just talking about the Langoliers.
I mean, maybe, like I was saying, I think like they kind of are all being affected subtly, but I don't know how much of it's affecting his. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, his decision making.
Yeah.
I don't know either. This is very. Okay. I think they're having an effect. I don't know. It's tough. That's a tough one to read because when we meet this town, there's already a woman who's talking to her dolls.
Yeah.
So it's like there is no progression of the like collapse of this town from like this really quaint, everybody gets along really well. They kind of show it, but they also, I think, yeah, they lead too early, right? With the corruption through the Tommyknockers. In a 3-hour film, you've got a little time.
Yeah.
To build this town up into like everyone's like gets along. So I think it would have been interesting if like they were a really happy married couple and then the Tommyknockers influence started to, you know, make them drift apart.
Yeah.
And have him start cheating and whatever. Because they're so over exaggerative about their affair. They're like screwing around and straight up like screwing like right there in the post office during business hours when everyone in town knows everybody.
Yes.
It just seems too over the top to not be influenced by the Langoliers. The Langoliers, I keep saying that. The Tommyknockers. We mentioned the Langoliers and now it's all I want to talk about.
That's all you're in your head.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think they are super over the top, so it would make sense that they're being influenced, which I already said. I think they are being subtly influenced.
Subtly. And I agree. I think that there's infidelity there, but I think it's being multiplied.
Exaggerated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we then get a scene where Tracy Lords and the husband, they go out into the, you know, in their cars and they're like at some like make-out point or some shit. And when they're out there, they see the Tommyknockers freaking ship. It's glowing and she becomes affected. So that's the real point where she becomes affected. But he doesn't seem to become affected, which starts to suggest to me that he wasn't really affected all that much. And if so, he's just an asshole.
I think he's an asshole no matter what.
Because she, like at first I thought, like, I was like, oh, am I misremembering this? Does this only affect women?
Yeah.
Because it affects her dramatically.
Yeah.
And it doesn't really affect him at all. He's like wondering why she's being weird. And then he comes to work. And one of the the funniest scenes in this whole thing is like he comes in and overnight, they were out late together that night before. And he comes in the morning. And that night, after going home, and I would assume not getting any sleep, because he comes to work and she has created this mail sorting machine that's able to read the mail and shoot it into the direct box. The technology you would have to have.
Oh my gosh.
For that. It would have to be able to literally discern the address and the box in which it was supposed to go into. It would have to have... It's so much technology. It doesn't matter. I need to get into fucking details here. But it would have to be insanely complicated, complex machine. And she's like, I made this, you know, I just made this. Like, what do you think? And he was like, yeah, it's all right for a girl.
Yeah, that response.
What?
Like, what does that even mean? How could you say that?
Because he's an asshole.
Yes.
But that actually made me laugh out loud. I got a good chuckle out of that. That was so ridiculous. This isn't a Wes Craven movie, but as always,
the dog always knows.
Really does. Really does. That is becoming a trope that I am starting to notice in like every horror movie.
Yeah.
If there's a dog in it, that dog's role is to be the one that's aware.
Yes.
And everyone else is like, shut up.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm trying to tell you.
I'm barking. I can't talk. Yeah.
If only dogs could talk.
What would they say?
Man. They'd be like, feed me, feed me, feed me, feed me.
Yeah, 100%.
All right. And yeah, I mean, our two main characters, I mean, he doubled down this time. They're both writers.
Yeah.
Right? And he's an alcoholic. And of course, this is the journey of like him falling into the traps of alcoholism over and over, and then once he can finally overcome it, that's when he can save the day. Very
Jack Torrance.
the overuse of green, green glow in this movie. This is nothing new. I've seen this in tons of movies. Green is always like this like supernatural energy.
Yeah.
Right.
I like the green.
It's used quite a bit.
I like it still.
Quite a bit in this.
Yeah.
The dog is affected and then is no longer blind, and it has reverse cataracts. So, yeah, I mean, that'd be nice, but high price.
Very high price.
Mm-hmm.
Zoom take.
Then we go to the veterinarian's office, aka the city zoo. The dog comes out of the vet's office, and in the waiting room, there isn't a ton of dolls.
No.
There is every animal species on the planet.
There's so
waiting
many
out there.
Animals.
It's hilarious.
Like,
it's like
so
a
many.
who's who of animal kingdom. It's like, oh, there's a parrot, and there's a freaking, lion, and there's a literal Komodo dragon.
That was so crazy.
On a leash.
Yeah, this kid he's like 10 years old, and he's got a Komodo dragon.
Like, what? That's not a pet. Why is that there? It's
just there to be like, look at all these animals.
It's huge.
It's so big.
It's fucking huge. This thing is massive, and it's sitting there like on a leash next to people.
Yeah.
Like, there are so many toxins in a Komodo dragon's mouth.
Yeah.
It like bites you, you're dead. And it's like, oh yeah, just put it on a leash and take it into public.
Yeah.
Totally fine. If that's not a Komodo dragon, please tell us. I don't know what else it could be. What else is that big, lizard-like?
No.
I didn't think there was anything, but there has to be.
There might be. I just don't know.
There has to be.
It looked like a Komodo dragon.
It did look like
That's
one.
all.
I don't know what else is that big. That's like that. So.
Yeah. It's definitely not like an alligator or crocodile.
No, it's definitely not either of those things. It's wild, and same thing applies. If it's an alligator or a crocodile, which it's not, you don't put an alligator or a crocodile on a leash and bring it into the fucking veterinarian's office. So neither one of those would be better.
Right.
I would still have the same issue.
Yeah.
But I was laughing when we saw that. I was like, what is that animal?
It was a ridiculous scene.
But it was so funny how many different animals that the dog was like running into. It was just like, it couldn't just be cats and dogs.
Cat, there's a dog, there's a Komodo dragon, there's a ferret, there's a bird.
There's a plane,
an owl.
there's Superman.
Yeah. It was all of them.
Yeah, there was an owl. It was a fucking Hogwarts all of a sudden. It was ridiculous. Anyway. And, dude, Jimmy Smith's character in this is like teetering. This is his line between drinking and not drinking for him. He's like, I haven't drank in years. Bullshit. Literally one, like, slightly off-color comment towards him by some bitch he doesn't even like.
Yeah,
and he's just like, give me a vodka tonic, hold the tonic. And then he's just like, wasted.
So drunk.
Literally, you fucking have not drank in years, and one pissy comment from some bitch you don't even like, who doesn't like you, is gonna set you off the wagon. Oh my god, really? That's your breaking point? I could understand his wife coming at him and being like, I never loved you.
Yeah.
Like, something that matters, but some, like, stuck-up bitch he doesn't even like or care about.
Well, she's like, he doesn't like her, but she's like his boss.
Who cares?
I just, like, she pays his bills, and that's why he, I guess, cares. She
points out that he's a washed out has-been.
Mm-hmm.
Like, but he knows that.
Yeah.
And I guess it's just her opinion is just sets him over the edge because I guess it's because, right, he couldn't come up with anything new to write. Right. He went out there and he read old material.
Yeah.
And I like how one guy in the audience has to be that dude that's like, oh my god, poetry. Ugh. Oh god, I don't want to be seen listening to this because I'll be thought of as a homosexual.
Super, super fun. Really fun guy.
But I guess I get it. He's on the edge already with himself. And it's just that comment. It's the straw that broke the camel's back, right? It's like he's already has it all on top of him. It's just funny to me that, like, he says how long it's been. And it's like one comment from this chick. But it's been building and building. And it just takes that one comment. I guess it's true. It's just because we don't have enough context with him and everything else that's going on in his life. I guess I'll forgive it. But I thought it was ridiculous. Yeah. I think it should have been someone who he, like, respected. Right? They could have built up that relationship a little bit. It doesn't even take long. A couple minutes of, like, he really looks up to her, really wants to impress her or something because she's, like, a writer that he respects or whatever. And then she comes at him and is like, you're finished in this business. Like, you clearly don't have anything more to say, and I'm kind of embarrassed to know you. Yeah. Then it would be like, and I would understand. Sure. So, definitely could use a little rewrite there. And then, yeah, he's just gone, man. He, like, wakes up on a freaking bench. A lot of people, I think I was mixing that up with something else we watched. I was going to say something, and then I'm like, wait, never mind. That's another movie. Never mind. We watch too many things.
Yeah.
No, we don't. We don't watch enough.
That's true, too.
Okay. People have their own tastes, right? And I can definitely say I've had some girls that I've thought were attractive that my friends did not agree with. And we all have those people. But Tracy Lords being so into this guy, the husband, and she's like conveniently thinking about these things, like when the sheriff walks in.
Yes.
And they're...
No, not when
Is it the sheriff? Oh, no, it's not. Who is it?
What's her face? The redhead.
Oh, right. It's the main wife.
Yes.
Right. She walks in because people in this can read minds when they're affected by the Langoliers. Oh my God, I almost said it again. I caught myself this time at least. The Tommyknockers. And it's like legit the most convenient dialogue.
Yes.
In the moment of like, oh my God, he's so hot. And he's like, I haven't been this horny since I was a teenager. Like, is that really what they're thinking about, having this affair for this long at this point? Where she walks in. I mean, I get it. It's convenient to the writing and the plot, but it just felt so obvious and forced of like, oh my God, I'm cheating on my wife.
Yeah.
And oh wow, I can't wait to get him away from his wife.
Yeah.
Like, stupid shit like that. That was so funny.
It was super funny. It's all for her though, because like obviously the audience already has that context.
Sure, exactly.
It's just like, how do you tell that girl that they're having an affair? Easily. But probably just like, oh my God, let's get this chick out of here so we can get in the back and fuck. Right? Like, pretty simple. Anything like that.
But yeah, so I'm not buying it. I'm not buying that Tracy Lords, who looks like that, who could get literally anybody she wants, is like in her head while she's trying to focus on something else, being like, oh my God, he's so hot.
Yeah.
No, he isn't.
I didn't believe their chemistry. Like, I definitely thought that she was like trying to get something from him, like money or something, but he's not rich, and she's just supposed to be into him.
And that's fine.
That's it.
That's her taste.
Yep.
I'm just not buying it. I'm not seeing the passion. But then she moves on to a different guy.
Yeah.
Right after he dies. She's like, now I'm into this dude. And when he dies, she freaks out again.
Yeah.
But she's affected by the Tommyknockers at that point, completely.
Super affected.
So, but was she before? I don't know. A good old metal plate in the head is what keeps Bail Organa from turning to the Tommyknockers. That's all it is. Yep. Him and Cousin Eddie from freaking Christmas Vacation, or the Vacation series. They're all right. I'm all right now. And oh man, there's this scene. It's probably the best scene of the movie for me, because this actually feels like horror, and this feels like something in a Stephen King miniseries or adaptation. And this is when she tells him to touch this thing, and he does. And then the plate in his head starts expanding under his skin, and he's screaming out in agony like a scene from Scanners.
Yeah, I liked that scene a lot too. It was really like unsettling and, disturbing, body horror.
It's total nonsense though, because your plate is secured to your skull. So if it was to be loosened like that and pulled away, it doesn't just like lay on top and then it just kind of slides around.
Yeah.
Like it's bolted in, right? It's secured into your head. So if it tore away from the skull, it wouldn't then just adhere itself back to your head. Like he would need to go have surgery to have that thing like put back
popped
on.
back into place. Yeah.
Yeah, to be secured again. So
Yeah.
it's pretty silly to me that that thing moved around like that and that he didn't need to go have it fixed. But movies, man. Movies. And the teacher has... Oh, yeah. So there's a scene where the kid puts on a magic show in class, and the teacher takes like a face full of soot.
Yeah.
Like some kind of black soot or something.
It's like an accidental.
It's an accident
thing, too.
screw up on his magic. And this teacher has zero self-awareness or humor.
Sense of humor,
Yeah. It's like...
He's so angry and upset, and it's like, it's a kid's magic trick. Like,
Right, it went wrong.
What?
Like, how would you just laugh? Like,
Yeah.
everyone in the class should have just, like, laughed and been like, oh, nice trick.
Yeah.
But he's like, he legit looks like he wants him dead.
Yes. Yeah.
This is a very insecure teacher. Certain parts of this for sure felt like X-Files. Especially the end. Which
the end
had a
for
similar
sure.
feel to the first X-Files movie, Fight the Future, when Mulder and Scully are on the alien spacecraft. Spoilers, if you haven't seen that movie. It came out like 25 years ago. Should watch it. It's great. But yeah, it definitely had a X-Files-y feeling to it.
Yeah, it did.
And, dude, this fucking guy, you want him dead so bad, this cheating husband. Like, he's out screwing around on his wife. He doesn't come, he takes a lunch with him and fucking, like, throws it away that she made him. Then he comes home and totally missed dinner. She made him, like, this dinner, totally missed it, completely is just like, whatever.
Yeah.
Right? Like, screw you, doesn't matter. And then he's furious at her because she hasn't ironed his shirt yet.
Yeah.
I mean...
He's a piece of shit.
Dude.
He's a total piece of shit.
And then he's just, of course, like, when she's accusing him of, like, being out with another woman or
He's
something.
super defensive and, like...
Gaslighting like crazy.
So gaslighting. Yeah.
Which, of course, is, like, the most frustrating thing to watch is, like, when you're caught and all you do is try to make the person seem crazy.
Oh, my God, yeah.
Like, oh, how could you say that?
Right, when it's like, it's the truth. What do you mean?
How
could you do that?
Because it's true.
It's real.
Yeah. And then oh yeah, she made him his favorite dinner. That's right. And then there's everyone's using this. I guess they're getting sent signals now. Okay, I don't understand any of this. So, okay, essentially what's happening here is the Tommyknockers, they want to use the town as batteries.
Yes.
As energy sources like the Matrix, right? So, what is this, like, giving them these ideas of creating these really elaborate mechanical and electrical inventions?
I don't...
Like, what does that do for them exactly? And then one of them actually, like, makes things disappear and reappear.
I don't think that the Tommyknockers are, like, intentionally giving them... I mean, I don't know. It's because she does hear a voice, like, whenever she wants to invent that typewriter.
Okay, I think I get
but
it.
I was gonna say that it's just like a side effect
Yeah.
of their.
So
being
they're drawing
prepared.
from them and they're drawing back. Like,
Yeah.
it's a two-way street, essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're able to draw some knowledge out of the Tommyknockers. The Tommyknockers have, these very advanced scientific minds. Mm-hmm. And, like, this chick has a broken water heater, so she uses her knowledge that she gained from the Tommyknockers at a price, right? Yeah. It's a give and take relationship. We're giving you some of our brain, right? Because they're mind readers. Mm-hmm. So they're able to draw from them as they're drawing off of them back. Okay, that makes sense.
Okay.
Thank you. You cleared that up.
Oh.
I think that's what it is. That has to be what it is. If that's not what it is, then it's just dumb. But that makes perfect sense.
Not what it is,
okay.
Then what is it?
Exactly. So yeah, that makes sense. Okay, cool. That resolves that. So they're drawing off of one another, so they're able to exploit some of their knowledge.
Yeah.
Okay. That being said, if that's the case, that should have been the thing that took them down, is being able to like draw from them and figure out their weaknesses, right, and use it against them. And Jimmy Smits doesn't have any of that. He just goes in there and is, just kind of guesses.
Yes.
He's like, well, I'll just sit in this chair. I'll take this dummy and throw it into the fog.
It worked.
This mannequin.
Yeah.
And I'll sit up on here and I'll have this thing drill into my brain, and then I'm just going to think really hard and they're going to explode. Like, that's a serious educated guess.
It is very educated.
And
very guessy.
It's not educated.
Very, very guessy.
It's just straight up guessing.
Very estimative.
Estimative? Yeah. It works. And yeah, like, it's okay for a woman. That's so fucking funny to me. Yeah, when the TV's talking to you,
there's a problem.
you need to go to the doctor.
Yeah.
You need to go to the doctor. Something's wrong. You are in Requiem for a Dream.
Yeah. Seriously.
The
And you need to get it out.
Yeah, the TV starts talking to you, like the Cabinet of Curiosities episode, right? Like, no.
That actually reminded me, the whole scene with her reminded me of that.
Yeah.
Pretty heavily.
I agree. Cujo reference.
Yep. Self-referential.
And there's this scene with like Ritz crackers where the person's like telling someone off while eating them.
I don't really remember this.
No, I remember they're like chomping on their.
Oh, it's her. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's like upset at him.
Yeah. He
and
comes
he's
home.
Like, turn this shit off. I don't like it. And she's like, turn it off yourself.
And she's like eating Ritz crackers. They're like in her mouth. Turn it off yourself.
Yeah.
It's really weird.
She's like stress eating, but it's just like crackers.
Yeah. She's just, I don't know. It's pretty funny. The woman in this, I have to mention it again. National Lampoon's Loaded Weapon 1.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
She plays Destiny. She plays one of the main characters of the movie. So when I saw her, I'm like, oh my god, that's the chick who then turns in to the supermodel. Pretty funny. If you ask me. But none of you did, so I'll just shut up.
Everybody asked you.
Everybody did?
Yeah.
So she creates a self-writing typewriter.
Yeah.
Which I don't understand this. We've talked about this. She's saying that it's like writing her thoughts.
Yes.
But like, you're a writer. That's what writers do.
But it does it while she's sleeping.
But
so it's like writing stuff that it's giving her more time.
It's giving her more time, okay.
By writing while she's sleeping.
But while you're sleeping, you're just going to be writing nonsense.
Not necessarily.
100%.
Well, no.
If I wrote my dreams, people would have me committed.
Yeah, but there's plenty of people that have like. She's not necessarily writing her dreams.
So she's having dreams and also.
Yeah.
It's accessing that part of her brain while she's asleep.
Or I mean, if she is having dreams and it's writing her dreams. I don't know. No, it could totally be like a semi-normal dream.
A semi-normal dream?
Yeah.
Do you have semi-normal dreams?
All the time.
I don't. So, I'm just...
Special.
Yeah. Special is the right word for sure.
Uh-huh.
And at the break, like when it goes to the next episode, they have opening credits again, and the opening credits feature people who are dead.
It was
and
weird.
it like made it feel like they were alive again for a second, and I was like, that's the opening credits, but it's not, it's just like scenes.
It's really weird.
It's really weird.
Yeah, I didn't like that.
So it definitely had us confused for a minute. I was like, what the hell is that?
They're dead.
The lipstick laser is maybe the dumbest thing in the movie.
I agree. It's really silly. I don't understand why she can shoot two beams out of it
At once, going
at
different
once
directions.
in different directions, and normally she can just shoot one.
Yeah.
It makes sense for it to just be one beam.
I feel bad for Tracy Lords in that scene because I think she's doing a good job, but she's been giving something really stupid.
I agree.
It's like,
yeah, I think she did her best, but I think that it is really lame.
Like the cops were on guard and they were like ready to pull their guns, and they did pull their guns on her. And then she's like, "Oh, it's just my lipstick." And then she's like, "Goodbye, guys," and points it at them and is about to do this, and they're just sitting there like,
they're like, what?
Whatever.
I mean, they don't.
But I get
know.
it. She's probably they probably think she's insane.
Yeah, of course. They're not going to react to her lipstick.
But with how weird she was being, I don't know. I feel like they should be a little more on guard. And they also conveniently pull over to throw up right next to where the car is hidden.
It's very convenient.
I'm like, and at least this show does kind of answer why he doesn't just leave. I mean, A, he's got a wife that he wants to save and a town he wants to save, but he does try to run.
Yeah.
And the Tommyknockers take over his car because it can control all of the electrical equipment. And also, there's a barrier around the town, like under the dome, where he tries to go. The car doesn't work, so he gets up and he runs, and he tries to run out of town, and it's like, nope, you can't leave. You are stuck here. But I would just think that stuff wouldn't have any effect on him because of the plate in his head. But I guess it just... The car I get, but the barrier, I don't know. I feel like the barrier would be like a detractant, kind of like in WandaVision, where you try to like go to the barrier and it's just like get turned around because you're under her influence. But with him, he's not. So the barrier just is a physical barrier that no one can get through. But he's the only one trying to get through it. Although the other guy drove back to town, the sheriff that's from the other town. I also want to point out that this is one of the only this has only been used twice, because typically in Stephen King novels he does stuff like Castle Rock, he does stuff like Derry, right? Like it's always Maine 99% of the time, but this is Haven. This is actually Haven Falls, but this is Haven, Maine. And the only other time that this has been done that I'm aware of is in the show Haven, which is based on the book The Colorado Kid. So the Haven was interesting to hear for once because I think we do hear Derry mentioned.
Yeah, several times.
Castle Rock I don't think ever got mentioned, but Derry does.
Derry does a bunch.
But Haven. That was interesting here because I did watch the Haven TV show, everything but the last season. Like I liked it, but yeah, I just wanted to mention Haven.
Oh my gosh, I keep yawning so much.
We're almost done.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, so of course this is like one of those film logic things. This is always done in movies. This is done in every fucking thing we ever watch. There's always like a guy who's up on, somewhere talking, and everybody can hear him no matter how far away they are. So Jimmy Smith's character is like in a gazebo, which is like right out in the open, and they should all be able to see him, especially, his wife who's looking this way, and they're all looking for him. But they can't see him until it's convenient. And she's like talking like this, like normal level.
Yeah, but he can hear her
and
super
he's
clearly.
like fucking 50 yards away.
Yeah.
And there's like a bunch of people in front of him who are talking to, and he's just like, I can hear perfectly. I guess alcoholism gives you super hearing.
Apparently.
It does. I just really wish that they would stop doing this in movies. Like, please realize that people can't fucking hear you, or at least make a joke about it.
Yeah.
Like where it's like they go like 7 rows back and they're like, did you hear anything you just said?
Mm-hmm.
Not a fucking thing. Like, that would be funny to me, because this is such a trope in films that I always notice. Like, that person's so far, and they can always, or like, this happens in movies. It's either hearing or it's sight, where people can like see what somebody's doing from like a mile sometimes, literally, where they're like, and then like the camera zooms in, like, and I'm like, is that supposed to be their vision? Do they have eagle eyes?
It's not how vision works.
It's like the scene in Troll 2 when she gives him the finger through the van window, and they're like,
yeah.
And it's like they show it from their angle, but they don't zoom in. They just show it from what they are actually seeing, and you can't see anything. You can't even tell if that's their car. And you also, not to get on to Troll 2, but like, how did they get ahead of them? I'll never understand that.
No, it doesn't make sense.
Anyway, they're like way ahead of them too. And why are they pulled off to the side of the road and looking at that?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
They're waiting.
It's the greatest. That's what it is. Okay. And yeah, his wife is still somewhat in there because she is trying to protect him. So she's not like completely taken over, and then he exploits that later. So there is some of them still in there. And we get a killer Coke machine in this. Much like Maximum Overdrive, like we talked about. And yeah, we find out that they're feeding off their energy. One of them this is actually kind of a cool scene. He like sucks her energy out and like takes on some of her features in his face. So it's like the alien features, but like a mild change to his face to take on some of the physical characteristics of the being he just stole energy from. Yeah. So like so what I'm getting from that is that these aliens originally looked nothing like they do. And throughout exploring planets and stealing energy from all sorts of different beings throughout history of the cosmos, they have taken on these very weird features because there's this amalgamation of so many different entities' facial features. That's what I like that. But maybe I'm wrong.
Too, but I don't know that that's what's 100% happening, because I took it as more like
I want that to be what's happening.
That they just took her life force and that like made them kind of like plump up.
No, because it takes on like some feminine features, and it kind of has features like her to a degree. Yeah. So I like that idea. And that of course harkens back to something like The Thing. Yes. Right? Which it's like it has so many different beings that it was once. And of course it kind of reminds me of the ending of Terminator 2 when the T-1000s dropped into the liquid steel, and it comes up and it starts taking on the form of all the different people that it took over during the movie. That kind of shit. I like that. It's just kind of got the history in its DNA in it, and it's what creates. I mean, that's what happens to us, right? We're like our mom and our dad combined, but they're like their parents combined, and so on and so on. So far, so you're like a product of all of your ancestors, your facial features, your body, everything is a product, right? I love that kind of, I like that thought. So anyway, and then this dude's hardcore, man. He pulls his tooth. I mean, and he didn't even get drunk. He pours the booze down the sink. If all the times in this movie that he should have drank, it's when he took freaking pliers to his mouth and pulled his tooth out so that he could fit in, like to try to convince them he's one of the body snatchers. Because that's basically what this is, an invasion of the body snatchers. Very similar. Yeah. And yeah, when he kills that thing, cuts its head off, and she gets her like energy back, she like instantly has like makeup on, her hair's done a little bit. One of her teeth look like they've grown back, even though they show it later, and one of her teeth's missing again. But I swear in the scene when she comes back, her teeth are back. Like this one is back.
Yeah, I think it is.
But
that's a continuity.
Because there's a mate there. Because yeah, I mean, in this very thing, he puts the thing on his head, it drills into his head, and then one of them comes at him, so he like thinks really hard, and it blows him up. And of course, the trope of tropes, what's in Firestarter or Stranger Things or whatever, scanners. Anytime somebody uses their mind powers, they always have to have a bloody nose. It just happens in every fucking film. But he gets a really bad bloody nose. Then they cut back to him like 30 seconds to a minute later. Completely clean face.
Yeah, no more
no blood at all.
No more nothing.
Then the next scene, blood all over his face again.
Another continuity issue.
Terrible. And yeah, then he flies it up into the sky and blows it up and frees everybody. You get some of the town. So for some reason they're taking some of the people, and some of them are locked in like a barn shed, but like the kid is in the ship.
Yes.
Why did they take some in the one in the ship? Like a child. A child has the least energy, right? Would you think?
Yeah.
You would want to take like some big freaking like lumberjack.
Sure. Maybe it's like
the purity.
The
purity of the person. Yeah. So, but the other ones they choose is an old man, a dog, and some freaking doll crazed lunatic.
Yeah.
That's their other picks.
Not a great selection.
So I don't know, but they're like in these glass casings, and they have like crystals on some of them. The dog's like suspended above like a tub or something, and its like legs are like this the whole time. I don't know. I don't know what they're doing. I don't know what they're powering or why they're in those and who put them in there. Because the Tommyknockers didn't come out. Because at that point, the Tommyknockers were like laying there, like emaciated or straight up just dead, and then they're kind of slowly being revived, and then they come to life. Now, if they were at full power, I don't think that Jimmy Smith would have had any ability to take them out. But it's because they're still in a weakened state. They haven't gotten their energy yet that he's able to take them down and use their own devices against them. But let's take one kid. If they can just teleport people onto their ship, why don't they just fucking teleport everybody onto their ship? Why don't they just have that kid taking everybody and zapping them and putting them on the ship? So like the gun that makes people disappear, that would have made sense for that gun to make them disappear and then appear on the ship as energy sources. Like those people are just dead and gone. Like what was the point of giving them the technology? I mean, they didn't give it to him because she created it just to have a weapon, but it's like, one kid disappears in the same manner as everyone disappears with the gun or the lipstick thing, but the kid's the only one that appears on the ship. You would think that's just kind of a waste. To use that energy, it should have drawn them to the ship. And who put them in those glass containers in the barn? I'm assuming the wife?
Maybe.
But doesn't she see him and she's like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I didn't think that she did it, so I don't know who puts them in there. I don't know if they're just like zapped into it somehow, because
I don't know.
Tommyknockers?
I don't know. So that's that. I'm done. Anything more to say?
No.
The Tommyknockers.
This is not a great movie.
No, it isn't.
It's pretty boring and I'm very tired.
I know you are. So let's wrap it up. And until next week, guys.
Bye.